One finger point changed the night. Allisha Gray swiveled toward the courtside seats, signaled to security, and the building's attention snapped away from the floor. Fans stood, cameras cut. The rumor mill went into overdrive. In the middle of a must-win playoff game, the story veered off the court. But what actually happened in those seats? Why did the explanation splinter into 3 versions by sunrise? And how did the Indiana Fever flip that chaos into a blueprint for winning when it mattered most? Tonight is the full breakdown: what people saw, what people said, and what really decided the series. A defense-first beatdown that turned noise into silence and a crowd into fuel. The images were simple and sticky. Gray turns. The point lands. Security moves. A pocket of fans is escorted out while the broadcast moves on. In seconds, the conversation left the box score and latched onto the stands. That's the power of a single gesture in a season already full of hot-button moments. But zoom in, and the timing is everything. Indiana was surging. The energy in the building was heavy with years of waiting. When pressure spikes, emotions race ahead of facts. That's how a fragment becomes the headline. And it's why the next chapter, contradictory retellings, was inevitable. By the time people poured their first coffee, the incident was living 3 different lives. One version said the line was crossed and ejection was deserved. Another framed it as standard playoff heckling that got blown way out of proportion. A third insisted those fans were temporarily removed, then returned once cooler heads and clearer details stepped in. Add in a few eyewitnesses who claimed the loudest words were actually encouragement for an Indiana defender. Something like, "You're good, she's not even trying." And now you see the mess. It's not that the truth disappeared, it's that it got crowded out by speed. A fast TV cutaway, fast social clips, fast captions. When a moment moves faster than facts, perception wins the first quarter. Scoreboard reality, 77-60. Indiana didn't just win, they squeezed the game. Kelsey Mitchell punished late closeouts and soft gaps, dropping momentum threes that doubled as body blows. Aaliyah Boston turned paint touches into certainty. Strong seals, balanced footwork. No panic. Role players filled the seams. Timely weak side cuts, quick swing passes that forced rotations a half-second late, and a commitment to end possessions with a body on a body. Atlanta didn't stumble by accident. They were walked into a defensive vice, one contested shot at a time. That's the part the viral clip couldn't show. A 5-on-a-string performance where effort turned into rhythm and rhythm turned into control. The moment looked routine, until it wasn't. Boston powered through a post finish that thumped the air out of the possession. On the inbound, Indiana jumped a passing lane, turning defense into instant momentum. Seconds bled away, the quarter ticked down, and the ball swung to the wing. Deep release. Buzzer. Bottom. The building didn't cheer. It detonated. Runs win playoff games because they don't just add points, they change the temperature. After that burst, Atlanta's margin for error vanished. The dream needed answers. Indiana gave them questions. Could they keep Mitchell off her spots without cracking the shell elsewhere? Could they trade 2s for 3s while the clock betrayed them? Every possession after that carried weight, and the Fever carried it better. This wasn't just any home date. It was the first Fever playoff game in Indianapolis since 2016. A drought like that rewires a crowd. It turns ordinary applause into a vow. Add the late injury list. The star everyone came to see sidelined, rotation pieces and street clothes, and you get a city that refused to mope. The shirts in the lower bowl said, "Now you know," but the noise sounded more like "We're back." When a franchise climbs out of the dark, every 50-50 bowl becomes symbolic. Every charge drawn is history paid forward. That's why defend without fouling and finish the rebound felt bigger than coaching points. They were an identity. And when players mirror the mood, teams toughen in real time. Indiana made a simple promise. No freebies. They cut off easy paint touches with early digs and strong fronts. They crowded pull-ups without surrendering the back line. They took away the rhythm passes Atlanta needed to live in the middle of the floor. The numbers tell one story. Low total, ugly efficiency. But the film tells another: decision denial. Every catch felt half a beat late. Every drive met a second body without a second thought. And the aftermath was predictable. Rushed 2s, forced 3s, and a parade of possessions that ended with the shot clock telling the truth. The Fever didn't chase highlights. They chased outcomes. Playoff wins hinge on stars showing up and role players showing nerve. Mitchell was ruthless. Quick first step, cleaner handle, no wasted dribbles. If the defense sagged, she shot. If it pressed, she hunted shoulders and got downhill. Boston gave the team its heartbeat. Count the quiet plays. A box out that prevents a second chance. A kick out at the exact right moment. A pivot that turns a trap into a layup. Around them, the supporting cast stacked small advantages. One timely cut relocates a defender. One swing skips a shaky closeout. One bench burst settles a tense stretch. That's how a roster wins without its biggest name, by leaning on 5 clever decisions instead of one heroic one. Leagues have fan conduct rules for a reason. Players deserve safety. Fans deserve clarity. When enforcement looks inconsistent, temporary removal, return to seats, mixed explanations. The incident doesn't disappear, it mutates. That's why this moment blew up beyond its size. The ambiguity became the story. Here's the larger truth. If sports are going to celebrate electricity, they have to steward it. The line between passion and problem is not a mystery. It's communication. When policies are enforced clearly and evenly, the oxygen for rumor fades. When they aren't, the oxygen feeds the wrong fire. Meanwhile, the only fire that should have mattered that night was in Indiana's rotations and shot contests. A blowout loss forces a team to choose panic or poise. Atlanta's natural response at home would be urgency, bordering on desperation. Harder pressure at the point of attack, more touches for the Star Wings, and early attempts to bait Boston into cheap fouls. That's the trap. If Indiana stayed disciplined, same shell, same glasswork, same inside-out balance, then the noise from Game 2 would echo into Game 3. In deciding nights, the details grow teeth. Who tags the roller without surrendering the corner? Who takes the hit to seal the blockout? Who keeps the ball hot even when the arena tries to swallow a possession? Those are not highlights. Those are habits. And habits travel. Teams facing adversity often talk about next woman up. Indiana made it tangible. They didn't sell the idea. They lived it for 40 minutes, guard by guard, screen by screen, rebound by rebound. When a group chooses the hard way together, you can feel it in how they move. Closeouts tighten. Help arrives without pointing. The ball doesn't stick. That's culture you can measure. And that's why the fan section sideshow didn't hold. The night stopped being about a moment and became about a method. Defend like every point matters. Share like every touch matters, and trust that the scoreboard will take care of the narrative. In the highlight reels, you'll see the point to the crowd. In the box score, you'll see a route. Only one of those tells you how a series tilts. Indiana didn't win an argument. They won possessions. They didn't chase attention, they chased stops. That's how a franchise starving for a postseason pulse found one. Without its brightest star, without excuses, and without blinking when the story tried to leave the court. If you've got the fever, drop "I've got the fever" in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because we're breaking down the next chapter matchups, counters, and who's ready to write the final lines. Because when the lights go up and the talk dies down, the same truth remains. The scoreboard never lies.